So, welcome to another episode of On the Come Up. Today we have two amazing guests, Edwin and Anysa. Anysa, would you like to introduce yourself today?
Both of us or just me? Yeah, just me.
Yeah, just you.
I'm Anysa Fernandez
Okay, now tell us a
from
little bit about
Southern
you.
California. All right, from me. Born and
makes you
raised in
Anysa,
Southern
you know?
California. What makes me me? You want to hear about my professional background, my upbringing background?
All right, all right, we'll go with this. Why are you in New York City?
Oh, okay. So I came to New York City to start my master's program in biomedical engineering 2 years ago, and I just finished that up
Woo!
now.
Congrats.
Thank you. Excited.
Ready for the
To
next
be done.
ready for the next chapter, I guess?
The next, yeah.
But I guess
Probably
before we go
smart.
too
Yeah.
far, how was that experience compared to, say, going into high school in or California and then UCI?
I guess because I moved here with school on my mind and then dove right into school. That made the adjustment easier in a way that I wasn't focused on how intimidating the big city was. Because I was on campus. We lived 2 blocks from campus. It made that adjustment a lot easier. Different than undergrad, it's really distracting. There's so much to do here. So what helped there is that I was adjusting and I was still making friends. So that limited my prospects of activities and distractions.
Awesome.
It
Okay,
helped.
so then you came to New York to pursue an education.
Yes.
Edwin, what did you do?
I came to New York to support my wonderful girlfriend.
Nice. You guys, whoever's listening, watching, that's
Yes,
respectable.
but also it's, coming from Irvine, it's kind of a very comfortable setting, right? So we're not kind of exposed to the city life, kind of nightlife deal. We are close to Los Angeles or San Diego. Orange County or downtown Fullerton has its own thing, right? We have our spots, right?
It's like we're kind of close to Costa Mesa too.
That
kind of
thing, yeah, Newport Beach and stuff. But Irvine itself is a very comfortable place.
Comfortable
It's-
as in like, correct me if I'm wrong. It's like a bubble, right?
It is.
I
Yeah.
was going to say, call it for what it is.
Yeah, it's a bubble. But,
Yeah.
I'm proud to be from Irvine.
No, I am too.
I won't dive into that whole thing,
Yeah.
but I'm very proud to be from Irvine. Born and raised. Born, too.
You were born
In
I
the
was not
hospital
born,
in
but
Irvine.
I was raised in Irvine.
Yeah.
Not messing around.
Yeah. I am messing around, exactly. But when this opportunity came up, Anissa and I were in a relationship. We met in UCI, and she started getting her applying to different schools. And one of those schools was NYU for her master's, as she just said. And that's when it became really real for me, where I'm like, am I going to follow her for her education? Or do I stay put and we do a long distance thing? I was with my folks during UCI too. I never dormed. So some people who are from Irvine, they actually went in dorms. So
That was like one of my requirements before I chose NYU. It was like if my parents wanted me to stay in UCI, it was like, all right, I'm a dorm and I'm gonna get my own car.
right.
I had to like just leave them for a little bit.
Yeah, so my folks spoke to me. And, I decided to stay put at home and be a commuter, right? All that to basically say, when this situation presented itself, this opportunity to be with my girlfriend, to live together, and to come to a city like New York City, I said, let's do it, right? I want to experience that life in terms of the other things that the city has to offer. Is what we wanted to embrace, and I wanted to embrace as well. So I moved because of.
I think that's the beautiful thing about New York City is like you don't have to come here for, say, like the nightlife. You can come here for the culture, for the
absolutely.
art, for the music, for anything. Like, people who come to model, who come to literally teach anything, education, stuff like that. I think that's what's beautiful about New York City. It's like a little stirring pot of like
for
different
sure.
cultures and different types of people.
The funny thing is, my barber. Another shout out to my barber. He said people come to New York to make money. That was his comment. I'm like, that may be true. I mean, I don't know.
I think that's partially.
there's a lot of opportunities
Partially
here,
true,
right?
yeah.
Right. For particular individuals, like again, like you said, in the arts, finance, and a lot of opportunities in the city.
So then when you both first moved here, what was that process like? What was the first thing you noticed that was going to change when you first came? Besides living together?
Yeah.
Because that's a big one. But then is there something about the city that stood out to you that you were like, oh, I didn't expect this?
I think it was really overshadowed by the fact that we were moving in together, which is kind of hard, right? For that first year, it was really surrounding about, like, it was adjusting to living with somebody, not living with someone, living with your partner. As far as the city goes, adjusting to not having a car, because we lived our adult life with a car. So, like, Johnson, you went to school here. you didn't live your adult life without a car. The subway has been your form of transportation, right? That was a really big adjustment for us. Like, we're going to buy a piece of furniture. How do we get it home? What do we do?
Absolutely.
Do we order it online? Do we ask the Uber if they? It was such a process, and it still is. Days like today where it's raining, we're scared of rain. We're from Southern California, so it's like, do we pay for that Uber? Do we just get an umbrella and run to the subway? That's been tough transportation.
There's no transportation in California that
Like,
takes you places.
There's
Not
buses
public transport. Yeah.
I mean, there's buses, and like LA has some sort of metro, but it's not as like complicated and sophisticated as New York City or like London, stuff like that.
Public transportation serves a different purpose out there, and there's way less of it. It's less sophisticated than here.
It's not as developed. I think, and
Correct.
there've been projects that they want to develop it, and they want to kind of wean off of that car culture that's in LA. I mean, but I feel like people in LA are forced to be that way.
Because everything's
sure.
so spread out.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
You have to, like,
When you talk
Yeah.
about Los Angeles, I mean, people talk about Los Angeles and talk about Orange County. Disneyland's
Yeah.
Los Angeles. That's all like 25, 30 miles
They're
away.
talking out to
30
San
minutes.
Diego
This
sometimes.
isn't 4 miles apart. You know, like
Yeah.
this is like 35. You know,
So it's like
Yeah.
to get somewhere when you were in California actually was a full-on process. But then when I think we were talking about this in the car, that in New York when you want to get somewhere, it's just a quick subway ride. Like
Correct.
the whole of
Yeah.
Manhattan's what, like 6 miles
6
long or
miles,
something.
Yeah.
So everything kind of easy access here. But yet when you want to go from end to end in Manhattan, it still takes you like an hour and a half.
Correct.
Right,
Just travel 6
right,
miles. Yeah,
right.
exactly.
So that was like moving here was like a really big step out of your comfort zone. And so how long did it take you guys to like adjust to everything here? And are you comfortable now or are you not comfortable yet?
Yeah.
I think we're pretty comfortable.
I think we're comfortable now.
I feel pretty comfortable.
I mean,
yeah.
we lived our whole adult life, what we have of our adult life in Southern California. So I think that it's still hard because we're still leaning on that.
Yeah.
But I think we've adjusted in a sense that we can live day to day and it's normal now.
I can pinpoint a moment, I think, where it's after COVID, or not after COVID, sorry, after we got back from California. And at that time, we were actually transitioning from Brooklyn to Manhattan. But I remember looking at Nisa, I'm like, do you feel like good about being here? And we're both like, yeah, we feel pretty good. Like we're comfortable in our own community. I mean,
It was about a year.
Yeah, it was.
A little over a
Then
year.
again, we were away for like
4 months.
right? Yeah.
So 11 months because it was a little bit over a year.
Right. So-
10-month period. Yeah. That was common feedback when I was moving to the city. Whenever I talked to somebody about that move, they were like, give it a year. Not just moving to New York City, but moving anywhere. You guys can speak to this too, that it takes a year and it takes a full year, like living through all 4 seasons and all the holidays to really adjust to life in this new place. And now I totally get it. It was almost at the 1 year mark where it was like, okay, this feels okay now. I'm adjusted. I'm not homesick. I'm not like upset about this move, even though this is something I wanted to do. It just felt comfortable and it just happened overnight. It was weird.
Yeah.
It was a weird feeling.
We got back. We're like, we're
this
back.
We're
feels,
in New
this
York.
feels
Yeah, we're back.
good.
We
This is
exited
home.
it.
And then we go, this is kind of like home now?
Yeah.
Or, yeah. it
Calling
feels
our
pretty
apartment
good.
home. It
Y-
took a
yeah.
while. It took a year.
That's true.
So
It was the apartment until
Oh, so you
then.
didn't
Yeah,
call it
that's
like,
true.
oh, we're gonna go to our house. It was like we're gonna go to the apartment.
Correct.
Correct.
And the tone was very different. It wasn't like, this is our home. It's we're gonna
Yeah.
go to the place we sleep at. Kind of the tone
Exactly.
very
It felt like
Yep.
a hotel still. Yeah.
But let me ask the two of you. I mean, how's
Yeah.
your transition? Like, when did the city really? When were you comfortable in the city, basically?
So I guess me personally, I guess, I came here for college, right?
Right.
And my first semester, I don't know if I ever told you, I absolutely hated it. Like,
Really?
We all
I
kind of
was-
hate the first semester.
I was homesick.
Wait, I get it.
I don't even know. But
When did I
would-
visit you?
I would.
You-
You visited me.
After your first year.
I think sophomore year. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, but my freshman year, my first I would say 3 to 5 months, I was just homesick. I wouldn't say depressed, but just sad all the time. I would always realize when I'm back from a class, I would just be texting or messaging old high school friends, stuff like that, just to keep that going. And because I just missed it, and I wasn't acclimated with the city, and
Yeah.
the city was just so much that I love it because there's so much things to do, but sometimes there's too much.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff going
Overstimulation.
on. Yeah. You walk out and boom, it just hits you. Again, some people like that. You walk out, you're in the middle of everything. But for me now, I love that. But beforehand, no. Again, like you said, coming from Irvine, the bubble, you literally come out, there's no one on the same street. Or maybe
Yeah.
you see your neighbor and be
Correct.
all the way down there.
Yeah.
You have to say hi. That's
Correct.
it. but nothing else. But then here, you literally the second you walk out of your apartment door, you'll see someone, see your doorman, see another college student, and you're just like,
Yeah.
what is going on? I need
Yeah.
my own space.
Yep.
And I wasn't used to it. I was just like,
It's a big adjustment.
I
It was the
miss
college
home.
adjustment, the city adjustment,
Yeah.
the no family adjustment, all at once.
that was also very
And you're
important.
young.
Exactly. I was 17. I was
Yeah.
17 when it was
Yeah,
my
'cause-
birthday.
yeah,
yep,
you're
yeah,
September.
I'm a late baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was like, I remember during welcome week, people were telling all their stories, and I was like, dude, like Irvine, none of that shit happened. Like, all I did was like went to Harvard Square, studied my ass off, hung out with my boys, went to Sierra Vista, played football, basketball.
That's a huge one.
Everyone else was
That's-
telling how like they
that's
got drunk, smoked, and all that. I was
Correct.
like, dude, what the hell?
Where did you go?
Oh, our weekends were the park with our basketball and football. I loved it. It was great. That's awesome.
And I still remember like even like sleepovers, right?
Yeah.
We didn't even have that until maybe like
It was
8th
later
grade or
on.
high school, but when you're minor, I was like, oh yeah, sure, fine, like,
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly.
And then that took time, but like before, everyone did like crazy stuff. Like I'm sure like you can like, probably add it like
Different
in Asia,
experience.
you probably like moving to the
Yeah,
city was kind
exactly.
of very similar.
It was
right?
very similar, yeah, because
Yeah.
it's like the way that Manila is structured is like they're gated communities, but those gated communities are basically like imagine like the townhouses in like Tribeca,
Okay.
and they're just gated off. And then like once you step outside, that's like the main part of the city.
Mhm.
So it's very similar to like what I grew up with.
Yeah.
But the biggest change was like the culture change because like I grew up as an American kid
Mhm.
in an American school, but when you come to America, you're not American because everyone grows up so differently here, and
Yeah.
America's so vast and different. And then like moving to New York like after college was also hard too because I did know people, but I wasn't really close with them.
It's like us two.
Yeah.
Like,
So,
we
yeah.
knew of each other.
Yeah.
We interacted once or twice, but we didn't really like.
Yeah, we
Hung
weren't
out,
very
hung out.
close.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Got
so it took us a while to like acclimate to especially me because like I don't have family that I can fly to that's 2-3 hours away. They're like a whole day across. It's not an easy switch, especially like culturally and all that stuff too. And like friends wise too was like kind of tough. But when you guys moved here, did you know anyone besides Johnson? Like who else did you know?
Our one buddy here. You probably knew
No,
more.
So my father on my dad's side, I mean, they mentioned like family friends, right? Like, oh, so and so is here and so is here. But it's like, so I know that there's someone here, right? But
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
like if there's an emergency, at least there's
yeah,
someone
you
can
know,
contact
but
and
how
reach out to.
close am I? It's through my father, you know. So really, no. Johnson was that support system, honestly, like coming here.
The welcoming
And-
community.
and
the,
he helped
was
us
all
with
of it.
our move, like with the transition, and getting the place, like in downtown Brooklyn, all that getting set up. So that was really nice to have.
Dude, I
So-
still remember like 2-3 months before you guys actually made the movie. You guys visited like just to like
Oh,
see if
yeah.
that was worth it or not, right?
We
and I was
did.
like pushing. I was like, dude, like I would be so excited to just like take you guys around, like just get you out of it, Cali. Like,
And then
just-
COVID happened.
Then COVID.
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah, and then-
Which is
Fuck. It's all
But-
about.
but it's basically been you two against New York City.
Yeah.
it has
Yeah.
actually.
What are some of the biggest wins you've had over the last like year and a half? Or like how long? Ish.
Yeah. Almost 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years in September. Who's counting? We're alive, man.
I mean, hey,
Hey, that's a
that is
win.
actually very important. Like
we
a lot
haven't
of-
killed each other.
I mean, I was thinking about COVID, but yes, that too.
That's a huge one.
yeah, like we have our health.
and our families.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
She graduated.
I
She did
graduated.
phenomenal.
That is a big
She did
thing.
phenomenal.
Thank
in her-
you.
I went from experiencing the city.
Yeah.
Living
That's
outside of Irvine was a big win.
What was
You
like
had to come
that
out here.
first experience, New York City experience for you?
Oh, well, let me tell you. About that. Here we go. So I ended up going on a business trip to Buffalo to meet with the customer. So then from there, I was flying alone to New York City, and I was going to stay 2 nights with Johnson. But then my flight got all messed up, basically, so I ended up staying only 1 night with Johnson. But anyways, so when I got here, I was very wide-eyed. It's one thing to vacation, like when Anisa and I came for like her orientation to like see the campus and do some walkthroughs and stuff. That's one thing, right? Because you're like, oh, maybe we'll live here.
Right.
Maybe we'll be in this community. And at the time, we were talking about this. It's like that was a point where we just like seeing downtown Brooklyn, seeing New York as like just like a visitor. It looked good, like we're excited, right?
Yeah.
When I first landed, though, I was very wide-eyed and nervous, like super nervous. And Justin's like, "Relax, man. Like I'm right here. Like I'm in the city with you. Like don't fret and all that." I'm just like quiet,
Yeah,
like just like literally not blinking. I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna be living here in the city. Like, what am I doing? My Dodge Charger's at home. Like what? And then
He's texting me all this because I'm not
oh
here
yeah,
yet.
yeah. So sorry, yeah, exactly. And Anysa hasn't arrived yet because she arrives the next day. So that night, what do? We grabbed dinner.
We grabbed dinner first with Gio at the bar right next to us.
Exactly.
So that was
Yeah.
like your
Oh,
first
that
time.
was that was when we first met.
That was the first
Yeah,
moment
it
you guys
was.
met.
Oh, okay.
Full circle.
Yeah.
I didn't know this context.
I was
I,
like,
don't know,
really,
I know that I know that you just moved and we had
Yeah.
dinner. I didn't know
Yeah.
all this happened prior, where you were like, "Holy shit, I'm in New York City."
Yeah. Oh, for
So you
sure.
masked it, maybe.
I think you did a good job masking that at first.
At first, no, but
I remember like later in the night though, like I think when we were visiting you in K-Town.
Yeah.
Or like you were.
we had dinner.
Yeah, we had dinner
met
with a
up.
bunch of other people too. I remember
Correct.
that. And then we went to like the fifth floor karaoke, and then I think you were talking to like some other producers to
Yeah.
maybe potentially get a gig. And then you were kind of playing that night too. And I noticed I just like see you in the corner just on your phone like, fuck, like, what am I doing? It's 11 p.m. or 1 a.m. Like, why am I doing it? And I'm like, dude, this is normal, dude. This is
Yeah,
normal.
and see, and I mean, props to John. I mean, he's trying to get me like out of a comfort zone.
Yeah.
Like this is like he understood that you're here to experience this kind of thing, right? To kind of enjoy yourself and be out here and like live life, because not that we weren't living life, but different
Different kind of life.
Yeah,
You're living a life that like is different than what you had. So
Exactly.
it was like a different shock to your system in a way.
So that basically, I think that night basically led into finally getting our key to our new place. And then Johnson was like, I got some showings, which is fair enough, right? I mean, I've been with him the whole prior evening, and it was just me in that apartment with nothing, with like luggage.
Yeah, I remember we out there met
One
the super and you just
suitcase.
moved in. You're like, shit.
Exactly. And so Johnson bows out, and I'm just like, all right, I'm in my new place. Here we go. Freaking out, like low key, high key, really freaking
Yeah.
out. So I ended up like leaving the apartment. I went for like a walk. I was texting
You were
Anysa
texting me the whole time.
every second. Like, are you guys here yet? Are you guys gonna be here?
I was
And-
driving up.
Yeah.
Wait, where are you driving from?
We were driving from North Carolina. So when my
Okay.
family moved to North Carolina, that's when we moved here. It's a lot of adjustment everywhere.
Yeah. So they finally come, and her parents. A lot of shout outs today. Shout out to Anysa's parents and brother. Them coming helped a lot. Like honestly, like they came as a whole group. They stayed the night with us. Like
It was
they
nice
helped
to
us
see
set
them
up.
too to help move in and
Yeah.
out too.
No, that was a lot of help.
Always.
Yeah, and then and when they left, I'm like, don't go. Like
We both
still
kind of
just-
sat there
Yeah,
like,
we're pretty
now
sad.
what?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like there was someone you were comfortable with, like something
Exactly.
that reminded of home, and then you.
It still felt like a vacation. It didn't
Right.
feel
It did.
real yet. And then they walk away and you're like,
It's us here
and the
in the
blow up
city.
mattress with no furniture.
Yeah. And that's when the IKEA trips came up and the
Yep.
questioning
Yeah.
of like how do we get stuff and all that stuff. Yeah. So.
Oh, so then this was like a whole experience that you just learned about, and you were like going through the motions as you were going through, and then Anysa was vivid, like living vicariously through you while this was all happening.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm the one having the major freak out,
Yeah.
and then she comes. I'm sure you're
So,
this
well,
too.
we operate a little different. Like you're chill as a cucumber leading up to things, and I'm a
Correct.
nervous wreck. I'm like making myself sick for a month leading up to
no.
something. So then day of though, I was nervous driving up, but once I get into the apartment, I was fine. We're here, we're ready, let's go. And that's when he's freaking out. So
Yeah.
we flop. The whole month leading up to it, he was fine. This is an adventure. We're
Right.
gonna go,
Yeah.
and I was dying. So that's we just flop. And it's good because there's always someone there
They, like,
to
keep
like
each other-
balance it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
But it's hard because we can't match each other's energy.
So then, how long did it take you guys to like calm down? Was it like a full year?
Yeah. I mean,
It took a year to adjust, but like to not be homesick and upset all the time. I think for me, it took up until 4 months? It was a long time for me.
Yeah. Well, as school was like ramping up, I think for her, you kind of get into the weeds. I kept
Yeah.
telling Johnson because he would check in on me often, which is
Yeah.
phenomenal friend. I love
Aw.
it.
Very
And
good.
and my answer to Johnson was always once I get into the dive into my work.
And like I think you also said like once you get into like a certain routine,
Correct.
then you'll be okay.
Yeah.
You kind of fall back on your routine. So, and that's what helped me. So I think, and also getting my work from home set up. That's another key thing here, where I was transitioning to work from home,
Yeah.
from being in an office since graduating, right? So it was also kind of diving into that, understanding how that works, and then how that's going to work in a one-bedroom apartment. So all that stuff took some time. And what that timeline looked like, I think several months probably.
It took
to
a
get
while.
there. Yeah.
And it's like once you guys got into that routine and like that busyness, then it kind of probably like
That flow. It got
Flow.
better. And
Exactly.
then that dipped right into like the holidays. So we got to go
Similar with
visit.
Okay, so then once you got into your routines and you felt comfortable, was there any moment within that like moment of comfort, right, where you felt like you wanted to go home and like move away?
So this is we talked about this a lot because home was no longer home for me, right? Because when I moved here, my family moved to North Carolina, which I thought was going to make it easier because it was going to distance me from California, but it didn't. I think it made it harder because I felt like I didn't have a home. You know what I mean?
Right.
So dramatic. But I felt like if I went to California with his family, that wasn't my home anymore. It didn't want me there. And when I went to North Carolina, well, I had only lived there a month with my family. That wasn't
like,
home.
no,
That was
yeah.
some weird house in a weird place. It was too humid. I didn't like it. So like this was home, and I had to really set my mind to like, this is home. This is where you are. So that was hard for me. So for me, I felt like there was no going home. I knew I could go back to my family. There was a room for me. But I think it was a little different for you.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because home for me has always been California.
yeah.
That
My,
room.
my address. I was about
Yeah.
to say my address on this podcast. My address, yeah. So, and that's the only home I've known. My family's never moved.
Yeah.
Unlike other families,
Yeah.
you know. So it is a bit different for me. What I call home.
Is your bedroom so blue?
It is.
Sure is.
Not much changed in my home.
Interesting.
Not much changed in my home. Yeah.
It's the exact same
My
view
other
that my
home.
brother.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Your other home.
Yeah, my other
Your
home.
home now is
Exactly.
New York
This is
City.
second or first. We don't know. It's one home, other home.
I mean, yeah, like I think now what I do when I refer to home now is like, oh yeah, like my parents' place.
See, that feels
That's what I
so
say.
weird. I feel like an adult saying that. I don't like it.
No, because
I don't say that.
I haven't lived at home for like 6 years. now.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like been a process, and I've lived in 2 different countries already. So it's
Yeah.
like
Right.
I know that if I say, oh yeah, if I go home, it's like I'm not going home. It's like to my room
What
is
is
still
home?
there.
Yeah.
All, my bed is still there. It's like
Yeah.
it's the same thing. Like my drum set's still in the same spot and all
Nice.
that stuff. It's
Yeah.
just I say it's like I'm going home, but it's like I'm going to see
your
my
parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes
I'm
sense.
gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna go visit my parents. Like I don't say like I'm going home. I'm gonna go visit
Yeah.
my parents. I started saying that after
Okay.
like not after college. After I got into college and then
Work started.
started working.
Okay.
Because then it
Gotcha.
processed
Yeah.
differently in my brain. I was like,
Yeah.
it's not really home anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's how I feel about North Carolina. Like it's not even that's home anymore. That was never home. But I tell people at work, oh, I'm going home for the weekend. That's not home. There's nothing home about that. But home is where my mommy is. Like that's my thing. Yeah.
Home is where my mommy is.
Do you consider any other family members or any other households that you've like spent your life with another like satellite home?
Oh, I do.
You do?
which
Yeah,
one?
your friends?
This guy.
And then the person's I mean, well, right now, I mean, yeah, Johnston's place when he was in Irvine back in the day was, you know, but right now, Henry Choi's home.
Yeah.
Yeah, our buddy.
Every time we go
Oh,
to Irvine,
man.
it's usually just his house now. Or sometimes if it's Lucas, like before it actually be used Lucas's, right? But
Yeah.
now it's just mainly Henry.
It's always a hangout spot for your friends,
Yeah.
right? It's like, and then now it's our buddy who's working. We're all working now, right? We're all professionals, but yeah, it's his place in Irvine. You know, that's like it's another home for us when we always visit. So I guess that. But in terms of other family members, personally, not really. My grandma maybe, you know, but
I think for me, it would be like every time I go to Taiwan, I would always crash with my grandma.
Yes.
So I guess that would be like a satellite home because like
Yeah.
she lives by herself or she has a, what's it called? Like someone who just helps her out on a daily basis.
caregiver.
Caretaker,
Yeah,
yeah. But again, like she always has a room for me when I do visit Taiwan. So I guess that would be considered a satellite home for me. I think what I'm realizing now is like the people that are there.
Yeah, 100%. That's
Right?
why North Carolina is home for me now.
Because your family's there.
Exactly.
So like I don't know,
100%.
like I told Edwin, my parents are moving to Taiwan in 3 months.
It's gonna
for
be
the next
home.
3-4 years. That's I guess like now that's gonna be home. Like
Yeah.
when I go to Cali, I'm gonna be saying I'm gonna go visit my grandpa's house.
You're going to say, I'm
Visit
going to
home.
California.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
home
So
anymore.
it's not home anymore.
It's weird, but it's,
Ooh,
yeah.
that's
I'm
weird.
excited
Yeah.
to talk to you after they move and see how you feel.
Yeah, that's gonna be
Because it's
interesting.
been an issue.
I just opened a can of worms.
yeah.
yeah, it's like, oh shit.
So then, when you are like living away from family, living away from living away from California for all 3 of you, when you look at the future and you see like where you want to go next, is there a place you have in mind?
oh man, that's a good question.
I have an answer, but you guys can go first. Both of that answer too.
I know your answer.
No.
You have to be honest.
So my answer kind of goes, it kind of mirrors, well, Anysa.
No, answer for yourself.
Where my career takes me. I've had that question before. Where people ask, like, I don't know, maybe what part of the country, maybe international you want to go. Like where's your life going to take you? It's where my career takes me. So like in engineering, mechanical engineering, like what I want to do with that career path. But also with that, it's like, how does my partner's career? Where does that take her? Right? That kind of not forced my hand, but that opportunity came up.
It's like someone forced my hand.
Now we know.
This is poker.
Opportunity came up, right? As I said earlier, with the move to New York was through Anysa.
Yeah.
Right. And my job being awesome and flexible.
Like that was part of the reason that gave you that extra push to actually make that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have unless I
Yeah.
made a career move. And also,
What's the ideal place that you would love to live in?
the idea? Oh, California.
SD, right?
So something,
Yeah, California.
Something similar to California. So then nowhere with winter in it.
Yeah,
Were you
exactly.
making a face at me?
No, I wasn't. I was smiling. That was a smile.
Communicate it.
Let's talk about this.
Wait, she didn't answer the question yet.
So I'm really glad I'm really glad that my parents moved to North Carolina because now I don't feel tied to California and I don't feel like I have to go back there. It makes it harder for me because now I can't decide where I want to go. Like if I want to be close to my parents, I got to go to North Carolina. Do I want to go there? I mean, it's a great place. I don't know if I want to be there.
Yeah.
So I just feel like we've talked about it. Like we can go anywhere because our families are all over the place now.
Right.
So we can go anywhere and not hurt anyone's feelings because we're hurting them all. So it kind of makes it easier for us to choose. If we pick North Carolina or California, now that's an issue because we're picking one family over the other. I'm with Edwin though. Like right now, in the phase of life I'm in, it's kind of wherever I'm taken. I don't have a whole lot of choice. I mean, I would love to be on the West Coast. Let's be honest. Anywhere on the West Coast, I don't care.
Just made me realize how selfish my answer is. because
I thought you were going to say California. I didn't even expect what you were going to say.
I love how she brings up where my family is because your family wants to be around you as their daughter.
I want to be around my
right?
family.
I'm over here like where my career takes me, where I'm going to be going. You know, like no, that's keeps you level.
That's
see?
important.
No, it is important. Like, and very fair
I think
point.
you were nervous. I think you would have thought about that.
Very fair point. I wanted to
No,
retract
but
my
I
answer.
mean, you also did make a good point though. Like we're at the age where our career is pretty important. We don't know where that's going to lead us.
Right.
And we're young and we can
We're
keep
still
moving.
I'm
25.
validating my answer.
Because we're still
But I do-
25.
That's
right?
true. I want to add, she is right. Like my sister.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tanya Abraham. It's a common
More of
theme
that.
here.
More of that.
She's like an East Coast person now. Kind of established herself on the East
Okay.
Coast with her career and what she's doing. My folks are in the West Coast. Probably going to stay in the West Coast. My grandma's in the West Coast. My aunt, uncle, all that. So fair point. It's like we have family on both ends. I guess the middle we don't have any people, but
Yeah.
so
goes there?
that is a factor too. You know, you want to be close to family for their sake too.
Right.
Being close to siblings and parents and all that.
I think for me, when you asked that question, my first thought was like, I think California.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
goal was eventually go back to Irvine or Orange County or just somewhere similar to that vibe.
Are you thinking because raising a family
raising
in
a family?
Orange County?
Yeah, like I don't want to. I love living in New York City, but I don't see.
It just
growing-
seems hard.
It seems hard.
Yeah.
Like-
Yeah.
Walking your kid to school every morning, or I
Yeah.
mean, getting a car. It's just everything about it seems
It's
difficult.
scary. But I have thought about it, like maybe Jersey City or Park Slope might be a little bit
Sure.
interesting.
What? Why? No.
No, like it's a way. No, it's
Why?
Like, it's like
What's
because
that area in Brooklyn where all the families are?
Downtown or
Cobble Hill.
Dumbo?
Cobble Hill.
Cobble Hill.
It's all families. I
Yeah.
love it.
It's like a nice vibe to it.
But it's weird because I can't imagine walking around like Brooklyn or New York in a stroller.
Right?
That's so weird to me.
No, but like, have you visited?
Your
like, those-
recess, you got to walk to a park
That's
for
true.
recess. Get out of here.
That-
Sorry, I
No,
interrupted
you're
you.
good. No, but that again, I think both of you guys did bring up a good point because again, my original answer would have been California.
Yeah.
But again, career literally like because we're young, we don't really know where it's gonna
And
go.
like you can go anywhere.
I can go
Exactly.
anywhere.
yeah.
Yeah.
Working
And, like,
remote, you can go anywhere.
Obviously, the main goal is to retire as early as possible. But like again, we've seen people work all the way to like 65. That's 40 years. I don't know where the hell I'm gonna be in 40 years, right?
Yeah.
But then again, you also brought up a good point. Like, my parents are going to Taiwan for 3 years. What am I gonna consider home now?
yeah.
Right? That's another thing I'm gonna actually have to think about in a year. Be like,
Yeah.
oh shoot, like because we're not tied down. Because like my parents were originally are in California the whole time, and they're like, okay, you got to go back. Especially me being the only child, I have to like.
Yeah.
I'm getting to the point where like again they're getting old, and you kind of have to like be there for your family, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then again, I think I get like you said earlier. I think I have to see where I'm at in a year when they're actually there
Yeah.
full time now, and it's like where do I want to go, right?
Yeah.
Because my grandpa's in California, but he's getting old.
Is
might
he
move.
going with your parents?
No.
Oh, okay.
He wants to
Is
stay in California.
this- Okay.
So that's the thing, right? Am I choosing Taiwan, California,
Yeah.
New York? where am I gonna be? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
So
hard.
you,
It's hard.
you have like a lot. You have like an option to do
Yeah.
either or.
Yeah.
But then you don't know where you would call home exactly.
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
that point when they do move.
Maybe New York City is my home now, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean-
but again, I
I
still
think you have multiple homes, buddy.
Yeah,
If
right?
you feel
That's
comfortable,
how it
that's-
is.
Yeah, if you feel comfortable, that's what matters, right?
But I think
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I think if someone asked me like home, I would probably still say California.
But
Oh,
that's
yeah,
the question of-
100%
that's
home,
like,
home.
That's like where you're from, though. That's like a different question.
Now
like
that's
where
home,
you grew
home.
up from.
Yeah.
Like,
Like-
if you made me pick one home, California. Like if I had to pick.
What about you? Like,
No, I
because
don't-
all three of us are from California. That's why we're so
Yeah.
probably like California.
I mean, I always say
California.
whenever people ask me like, "Oh, like,
Yeah.
where's home?" I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh, well,
Yeah.
technically it's Manila."
Manila, right?
But
Yeah.
then
Okay.
it's like I don't live there, so I
Yeah.
always say like,
Yeah.
"Oh, like I live in New York, but I grew up in Manila."
Mm.
So as an international third culture kid,
Yeah.
we always have the answer of where you're from. It's
Yeah.
a hard thing to answer because no one really, especially here,
Because you're born here and
Yeah.
then you also grew up in. there,
I'm-
and then you also came
I was
for
born
college.
here,
Yeah.
lived in a place for another like 10 years,
Yeah.
came back, lived in another country for like half a year, and then moved to the U.S. So it's like
Yeah.
there are many different places that you can call home
Exactly. Yeah.
and call like where you're comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like you don't really know how to answer the question of like where's
Right.
home, because like yeah, I grew up in the Philippines and that's where like a lot of my life was spent,
Mm-hmm.
and so a lot of my friends and I, when we talk about this, it's where you went through high school, because that's when you actually like find who you are, or like you start to discover who you are as a person. Because my high school friends were like this, and we haven't
Yeah.
seen each other ever. Like the last
Yeah.
time we saw them
What's
was last time we were all in the same room was when we graduated. But
Damn.
whenever we see each other,
Yeah.
it's like yesterday.
Yeah. It's like no time has lapsed.
So
Yeah.
that's where we consider home.
But no, you made a great point, because a lot of schools look at your high school, like where you went to high school is home. When you're applying to schools, when you're applying to graduate schools, you're home, and they give you not. It's called significant ties, right? You have significant ties wherever you went to high school. It doesn't matter if your parents aren't there, if you don't live there. That's because that's what raised you. That's where you were molded. It's interesting.
Because yeah, when you go through puberty,
Yeah.
you're like, what the fuck is wrong with me?
Yeah.
Like, what's happening? So like,
And that's where a lot of your molding is. Yeah.
Emotions.
right? So then maybe
Yeah.
that's why whenever I get asked like, hey, where do you consider home? That's why I say Manila, because that's where I made like a lot of my like high school friends and long-term friends.
Yeah.
That I've like been in touch with, and even though we don't see each other very often, it's like just like yesterday we all catch up.
Whenever we'd meet up after like so many years in college, we say like, "You changed, bro. You've changed." But in reality,
And no
Johnson
one's
never
changed.
changed. No one's actually changed. Same thing with you. It's same with us. Rather, it's like
past,
we,
like, 3
we
years,
miss each other.
you haven't changed.
Yeah, it's like you haven't skipped a beat. You just kind of dive in. You
So
kinda-
you're talking about like your conversations still flow, everything's good.
exactly.
But then what
Exactly.
about when you meet each other and you're like people's personality change? Because I know sometimes when you leave home, people change based off of like the experiences they've had and like the people they meet, right, and who they hang out with.
I would say some of our friend group has changed.
Like,
I don't know if change is the right word. Just like again, like because
The-
they've gone through different things in life, they've lost touch with us and we lost touch with them. I don't know if that kind of answered the question or kind of just that's just a random thought that I kind of.
they've been through some stuff, I
Yeah,
guess, and
it's
they their outlook on life is a bit different,
Different than-
what
yeah.
because as we're all kind of growing up, we all share similar backgrounds, right? The similar
Yeah.
privileges, similar, yeah. So, and then once you kind of experience different things in life, then that outlook may alter.
Yeah, that's a good word.
Manus, what about you? Anything that like pops out?
Yeah, it's hard for me. I'm really bad at staying in touch with people. So like if I've stayed in touch with people, we've probably grown together. So it's really hard to identify that. But I don't think so. I feel like personality-wise, people haven't changed. At least the few that I have kept in touch with. Maybe their aspirations and their goals have changed. But I think personality-wise, everyone in my group is pretty consistent.
I used to be like, yeah, no, because when I talk to my high school friends, a lot of us were like not the most popular people. So
Okay.
we were all in the dirt.
I mean, I would say so for all of us.
Right?
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I think we.
So
we weren't like the popular kid. We were just there, you know. Like,
Yeah.
we just did our own thing and just
exactly,
it.
you were just kind of there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
You weren't
so-
popular, Anissa?
no,
Oh,
100%.
I thought you were like the star of your school.
I mean, I can see why you.
You're so humble too.
humble, dude. That's perfect.
That's good. That's good.
All right.
Oh yeah, my thought was so when things, but like, hey, good to know that were you actually like the star of your school?
No. You believe this kid?
No, you did very well in high
How?
school, did you not?
Well, okay, but doing well academically doesn't make you a popular kid. What planet are you on? Do you?
Yeah,
like-
I mean, like, think about it. We
Like,
did
just
well,
be-
but
okay.
we weren't popular.
Okay, here, what are we talking about? Does everyone know kind of who you are and like they recognize you, or is it like, oh, they were the popular kids?
Oh, no one knows who I was. Let's be real.
I'm sure people know who you are
No,
and you
people
don't know.
know.
Just because one or two people forget you doesn't mean, or
No,
because they don't recognize
it
you,
really-
different
dude,
story.
it
I'm
That's
gonna
the
give a
thing.
special. I'm gonna give a shout out right now because you know who I bumped into 2 days ago.
And they were like, "Where's Edwin?"
Yeah.
Really?
He brought up like because he
Oh,
was asking.
boost my ego.
No,
Here we
no,
go.
he was asking who
Yeah,
I
let's go.
still talk to, and I was
Uh-huh.
like Edwin, and he's like, "What?" I was like, "He's in."
He was
Sydney."
like, "That
"What?"
cool
And he's
kid?
like, "I remember because you know who I met? Shout out to him too, Nick Yoon. He moved to the
Oh,
city.
Nick Yoon.
He's in the city, man.
Oh,
All
yeah,
right.
Nick Yoon. You know Nick Yoon.
You know Nick Yoon.
Yoon.
We met him on Friday.
I was there.
Yeah, that was,
you
that was the first time I saw him.
Where?
So I'm the only one left
He
out.
knew one of our close friends, and it was our close friend's birthday. And for some reason, I don't know how they
cool.
met through mutuals. They met each other. And when I saw him, I was like, "Bruh, it's been 8 years."
I
Yeah.
thought that was crazy because there are experiences like that you just kind of know things are supposed to happen the way they're supposed to
Yeah.
happen, and I think that's what like ties in with like moving here,
Yeah.
like meeting your friends, like growing as a person, right?
Yeah.
When my friends and I talk about things when we like meet up again, like especially my high school friends, we're like, "Oh, dude, I can't wait for us to have a reunion so I can just like flex and be like, yo, look at how much better I was now than I was in high school, and everyone gave me shit in high school, but now I'm like way better now."
No, honestly, I'm looking
I'm
forward
way
to
better
20
now.
years too. Just like not all that, but just to see where people have like done.
That
Are
is
yours-
a part of that, though. What do you mean? The thing, you just made it sound nicer.
Nah, yeah. Let's be honest here. But do your guys' schools have like good 20-year reunions where like everybody goes?
Dude, I
Or
don't
like
know.
15 years or whatever.
I
it is?
hope they plan
Yeah.
it, but I don't know.
Because you have to have like somebody from your class has to be
It's usually the
a
president and vice
representative.
president of your year, your class, right?
I think so.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought it was like
Yeah.
volunteers.
And I don't know if they.
So
I mean, I
my
hope they-
sister should be getting hers, who also went to Northwood, you know,
Yeah.
and then I don't think she did. So I'm not sure how it works. With
But
our
also
school.
everything's a little bit weird right now.
For the 10 year, not the 20 year.
That's what I was going to
Yeah,
ask.
we
Is
got-
it
do we
10,
have a
15,
10-year?
or 20?
Oh shit, that's
It's
in 2
coming
years.
up.
Fuck.
Is that crazy?
I had my UCI like 5-year or something.
Really?
That blew my mind.
Yeah.
Really?
Leave me alone. It's
Interesting.
too soon.
We have we have a 10-year.
Okay.
For
But I don't-
high school or
For high school.
For usually because for high school they do it. I'm not like 100% sure, but like we usually have like mini get-togethers. So like if we're all in like the same city at a given time because it's like international school.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I
everyone's
see.
from like different like
Yeah.
countries, and we're not all from like the same walk of life. Like
Yeah.
literally not from the same walk of life.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times we just like meet up when we're all in the same city. Like New York is a big hub, so is
can
California.
imagine.
Because like this is where all the jobs are, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird to like see everyone again after like 5-6 years of not being in high school.
In a totally different place.
In a totally different place, in a totally different country.
Yeah.
And you're all like still talking about like the same things you talked
Yeah.
about like, 6 years ago.
Right.
Do you have any thoughts on like your personal growth since you've come to New York?
I feel like we talk about it on every episode, right?
Yeah, I know.
But like
this
just
is
our
like
own personal growth.
it is like personal growth, but like is there something that you wanted to grow out of or into because you moved here? Or like did you have a goal when you moved in here?
Independence, probably, because I was still with my folks.
Yeah.
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 I never dormed, right? As I said, so independence was a big one. Growing with my significant other, with my partner, so that was another one. Another goal, which I think we are doing. We're
Yeah.
growing together, right?
Yeah.
And our relationship is building. Seeing the city, I think, like just seeing city life, because again, that's something that I didn't see personally. I guess there's a goal of mine to just experience city life.
New things.
Yeah. So and as I got more comfortable with being in the city, I think like every weekend, and I know you asked me like, what's going on, like
What are you up to?
exploring different community, different parts
Yeah.
of town, right? And walking everywhere and seeing all the
I think
different
that's the one thing I love about you guys. Though. You guys actually do that for us, or at least for me. I'm just doing the same old thing now. Like 8 years into it, like we go to the same like lunch special place, same like bars. and
Yeah.
everything.
Because
You
we-
at least
But
tell
I mean,
me
you
like
guys have been here. We're still
Yeah,
new.
that's true.
Yeah, that's
That's
true.
very true.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say like they call you a New Yorker after what 8 years?
10 years.
Is it 10 years?
We're
10,
not-
right?
Really?
We're not there
Really?
yet. We're not there yet.
I feel like a New Yorker already.
You do?
Because
I think you can claim it.
I can,
but
like,
don't
figure-
tell the New
like-
Yorkers.
oh, fun fact about New York:
Uh-huh.
if you can figure out the trains without looking at the train,
Oh no, I still look at my Google.
At
Maps.
the,
Yeah.
at the map.
yeah, if you can do that, I'm pretty sure that makes you a born,
Automatic?
Like, a New
That's
Yorker
fair.
for
That's
you.
fair.
That's,
Mm.
sounds,
Like
sounds
imagine
good to me.
if you moved here in the 90s and you had to like use the manual map.
Oh heck no.
Oh my
I
god.
think about that all the time. Like,
Yeah.
But then when you think about it, you like if you really follow the signs, they're pretty self-explanatory.
Like you know,
Yeah.
the blue
Like,
lines are
it's
on
not
8th
bad.
Ave, the orange lines on 6th, the red's on like.
I didn't know that.
I can't tell you streets. I can tell you where it's going to take me.
I didn't know that.
But I didn't know
Have you not
that.
know? Well, mainly, like, yeah, like all the ACs.
There's
are
one that's on
8th.
42nd.
Yeah.
We learned that today.
Yeah. Wait, but what about you though? What's like?
Oh, like goals that I have or goals.
That you wanted to accomplish
What
or
did I want
have
to accomplish?
accomplished. Yeah.
Anything.
I wanted to get better at running. Like just, but I honestly I got worse because I was more afraid to go out and run by myself.
I mean, that's
So that
totally
got
fair.
worse.
With everything that's been happening in the era that we've been
Yeah.
living, we all have the Citizen app, and we
Yeah.
get these notifications at 3 a.m.
All
like,
day,
this guy
every
gets
day.
stabbed. I'm like, dude, what the heck are you doing at
it's
3 a.m.?
always in front of your
Right.
place too. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, why is it us? I don't get why
Johnson?
it's us. The deli last week, I was like, what happened?
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, there was a
It's just
fight, and I was like
always.
eating dinner. I was like, guys, like, what the heck?
I was like, what
Always.
happened?
Yeah.
But it's hopefully it gets better soon.
Yeah.
It will be.
Because it wasn't like that
As
2 years ago.
tourists start to.
Mm.
Just saying, 2 years ago, my
Yeah.
Citizen app didn't blow up that
When
much.
we got here, it was
No,
bad.
even when you
we
guys
got
moved to the
here
area, too,
after
like, it
COVID,
wasn't like that,
it was
too.
like, what is happening?
Yeah.
It was sad to see.
But it's okay. So to end on a little bit of a higher note,
Okay.
what do you want to accomplish in the next year in New York City? Is there anything that you specifically want to try and do or
In the city.
see? Yeah.
Well, something that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, please.
Something that I mean, we set out to do, and we have now that I'm like more free too. We're starting to accomplish, and we talked about it a little bit. It's like going to all the museums and really spending time in there and growing an appreciation for art and history that I just personally didn't have before. So that's been really nice. So I want to continue that. I think we want to hit up everything. I know that we'll never finish, but yeah.
We've become like legit museum goers. I feel like
Like
Weird.
every
I
weekend
never thought
until you
I'd say
won.
that.
we were
Not every
this
weekend, but
yeah, we're this close to getting it's membership. Like
Oh my
to be actual
gosh, yeah, it's the
patrons.
Met.
Yeah, patrons
You
for
should.
because
for
it's
them.
a good deal for
Yeah,
students.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we enjoy that. Seeing like I think seeing all the different communities is one thing that I've enjoyed, doing and I'm doing more of, like going up to the Bronx, like to a
got-
Yankees game. That's one of
Yeah.
our things that we want to hit.
I haven't
up, right?
done that. We should do that.
That's
Yeah.
on our list. Oh,
Seeing the Bronx, seeing different parts of Manhattan, going to Queens. Like
I gotta take you guys to like Flushing or something too. You guys haven't been there yet.
so
right?
we've
Ooh,
done
that would be-
did you say no need?
No, you need to
Oh,
go.
she said
Yeah.
no need.
No, like that and Woodside.
What's that?
Okay.
Yeah.
I heard 30th Avenue, Astoria.
Sorry, I actually visited there
Yeah.
a couple times. It's actually pretty nice too. It's a pretty busy street.
Yeah, so we briefly went to Flushing for the U.S. Open.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
For tennis, we saw
We
Serena
forgot.
Williams. It was
Nice.
pretty cool. So events like that too, that are like around here, concerts and all that, like
Yeah.
those kind of things. It's so again, it really overarching thing is like embracing the city for what it has to offer. The different
I like that.
communities, the different like the vibes in the different parts
But we're
of town.
like old people, so
Art.
like day life, not nightlife.
Correct. yes, more daylight rather than
Have
nightlife.
you
correct.
done like Broadway? Is that like part of it too?
We
Yeah,
we have.
we're really sad that
We
we,
are-
live next to Broadway and we can't.
The Lincoln Center,
Take-
the
yeah.
Performing Center. That's another one. In Juilliard's right there next, next door. So,
Interesting.
that kind of stuff is what we like. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, we're the other end of the spectrum. I mean, we're maybe eventually once I like meet someone and I want to settle down, like it'll change.
One
but
day.
I don't know. I think. Do you think that it'll be the same? Like maybe like, let's say 5 years from now. What do you think is the outlook for yourselves? Is
Oh, for us in
yeah,
5
is it-
years?
Is it New York? Is it another country? Is it like California? Is it like where
Another
is
country.
I think like my personal goal, I would love the opportunity to work out of a different country.
Yeah.
But the only thing is like my job is very specific, right? Like real
Oh,
estate's
yeah.
like I don't know. You have to. New York
Yeah.
is a completely different animal. But like one of my goals is to again like I did want to maybe work in Paris or like Asia just to kind of have that working abroad experience. But goal wise, I don't know, to touch base with earlier again, like one thing in New York that I want to do is like to go explore more Broadway shows. I think that's I only been to like
Yeah.
2 or 3, and I
Yeah.
feel like I took that for granted, like
Love
because
Broadway.
I know like it's there. I just never did it, right? But like
Yeah.
I hope like once things do open up, I think that I'm gonna try to go at least once a month just to like see
Yeah.
like what
Yeah.
it's it's nice to just see that art and
Yeah.
that part of the cultural experience.
Yeah.
What would be like something that you'd like to see happen in your life?
In the next 5 years, or ever.
Whatever.
Gosh, like, I guess all I can think of is completely New York City related, but like New York City, something that helped me, like channeling my nerves and my anxiety when I'm tackling new things. Like we talked about it earlier. Like I'm worked up for a month before I tackle something new, to just tackle it and nothing changes once I tackle it. Right? Like the move, nothing changed. Being nervous for it and getting worked up about it. So that's something I think I've always wanted to work on, but that's something I want to work on. And I think this is a good place to do that because there's always so much going on.
Yeah.
You're always stepping out of your comfort zone. This is the place to work on that and to get better. So hopefully in the next 5 years, but maybe sooner.
I think that's the beautiful thing about New York City. It's like the perfect place to be uncomfortable,
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Is
Like,
that-
there's so many ways to.
right?
So that's today's moral: is that New York City is the perfect place to be uncomfortable. You meet different types of people. You do different things.
Yeah.
If
We're
you want
sitting-
to be uncomfortable,
Who
come
cares?
here.
Yeah, come here.
Just be uncomfortable, man.
We're sitting in a room on a Sunday right now,
and it's
like,
raining crazy.
and it's raining outside. We didn't even think this was gonna happen ever. We never thought this was gonna happen,
Yeah.
and here we are.
No, it's true.
Exactly.
My boss from a couple years ago, shout out Sean Kennedy.
Nice.
Oh, I got to make my okay. He used to say, "If you're not uncomfortable, you're not making progress." And I loved that.
Quote
I
of the
loved
day.
that because anytime you're making progress, trying new things, you better be shaking a little in your boots.
Yeah.
Don't be scared, but be a little bit nervous. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Exactly. And with that, that was the episode, guys.
Thank
you for
you.
coming on, Edwin. Thank you for coming on, Anissa. Hope
Thank
you had a
you.
good time.
We had a great time.
We did.
Granted,
Thanks for
honestly,
chatting with us.
no, this is a fantastic experience. Props to the two of you for putting this
Yes.
together. Johnson, I know you had it in you, but you did it. I'm just kidding. No, you're phenomenal. You're both phenomenal. Like this is, and I hope this continues and it becomes something great. So
Thank you.
great job, guys.
That's cool.
Thank you,
you.
everyone.